Good morning, guys. As promised earlier, I'm going to be making a low carb variety of the Jamaican Christmas cake. And what this means is that I'm going to be substituting the original counter flour for coconut and almond flour, and I'm going to be substituting the sugar for erythritol sweetener. So this should cut out some of the carbs. Of course, it's not going to cut down all the carbs because I'm still going to be using fruits, and I'm going to be using rum and wine in this cake. So here I have 8 ounces of butter, which has been softened at room temperature. And I'm going to add 1 cup of my erythritol sweetener. You can add whatever sweetener you use. This is one I'm going to use. And I'm going to try to go ahead and beat them together. Once our butter and sweetener are creamed together, we're going to just set that aside. And we're going to get 5 large eggs in a bowl. And if you're Jamaican, you'll understand what I'm about to do in this next process. I'm going to take out what we call the eye of the egg. And that is supposed to cut down on the rawness in the cake, because you don't want the cake to be raw. When you're using so many eggs, the tendency is that it will taste raw. So we're going to take out these little white strings that basically supports the yolk of the egg in the center. We're going to take out all of these, and this will cut down on the rawness in the egg. I'm going to grate some lemon rind into my egg. Just a small amount, not the whole thing. I think that's okay. That's enough. And then I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla. 1, 2. Whisk this slightly. Set it aside and get ready for the dry ingredients. We're going to use 1 cup of coconut flour, 1/2 cup of almond flour, 3 tablespoons of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg freshly grated, and 1/2 teaspoon of mixed spice. And then we're just going to whisk all of this together and set aside. My fruits have been soaking in this wine and the rum mixture for about a year, and I have in there some cherries, some raisins, some citrus rind, and prunes. And these are still relatively big, so I'm not going to put mine in the cake like this. Some people actually use them this size, but I'm going to go ahead and blend mine. Not ultra fine, but I'm going to give it a blend. And then I'm going to add it to my cake mixture. This, I'm going to use about 1 cup to 1.5 cups of fruits. I'm going to blend them first. I have about a cup of the blended fruits. Like I say, it's not totally smooth, but it's there. And then remember, guys, that because we're adding these fruits, and these fruits are actually high carb fruits. Cherry, those have a lot of sugar. Raisins have a lot of sugar. So you cannot say that this cake is totally low carb, but it is certainly less carbs than if we had used the original counter flour and if we had used sugar. So we're just cutting down on the carbs. We're not totally eliminating the carbs. So this sugar and of course the alcohol, this fruit, sorry, and of course the alcohol will reintroduce some high carbs into this cake. Going back to that creamed butter and sweetener mix, we're now going to fold in our eggs, or mix it in really, because we've already beaten it. We're going to just add that together and really mix it together. Once we have mixed all of that together, we're going to add the fruits that we just blended and 1/4 cup of brown rum. I'm using brown rum. Some people use the white rum, but I'm using brown rum today. Alright, and we're going to mix this together as well, combine it. Some people add their browning after they have mixed in their dry ingredients. I'm going to put mine in right now, and I'm just going to use about 2 tablespoons of browning. And that depends on how dark you want your Christmas cake to look, or how light. That's just a matter of personal preferences. You could just use 1 tablespoon for a lighter cake, 2 to 3 to 4. It just depends on how dark you want your cake. So I've used about 2 tablespoons of browning here, and it should give me a semi-dark cake in the end. Extremely runny at this stage. Very runny. And to this, we're now going to slowly fold in our flour and dry ingredients mix that we had put in the set aside in the other bowl. Once you have finished incorporating your wet and dry ingredients together, Go ahead and grease a 9-inch baking pan and make a bain-marie. So put some water in another baking pan and just set it at the bottom of your oven. And that is going to keep your cake from breaking and cracking up at the top and keeping it moist as well. And set your oven to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. We're going to bake this cake for 2 hours at 300 degrees Fahrenheit. 2 hours have passed and I have just taken this out of the oven. It's not cool. I've put some extra cherries on the top just for decoration purposes. A few of them have sunk in, but the one in the center is still there. I'm going to cut into this and see what it looks like. We're just going to cut very small slices again because we're trying to keep that carb level to a minimum, so we don't want to eat too much of a big slice. And there it is, folks, our low carb Jamaican Christmas fruit cake using coconut and almond flour and using sweetener instead of the traditional brown sugar. So try this at home and let me know how it turns out for you.
Until then, walk good and Merry Christmas.